Long ago, not in a distant village, but in the great kingdom of technology, there lived a small device known as Galaxy. It was born simple, no fame, no power, no perfection. But deep within its circuits lived a dream, the dream to become something greater. While other phones were satisfied with being average, the Galaxy whispered quietly to itself, "I don't want to be ordinary. I want to become ultra. I want to see clearer, think faster, and last longer than anything that came before me." And so its journey began. Through the years, it grew, from version to version, from failure to success. It overheated, it lagged, it crashed, and sometimes it broke completely. But every time it failed, it returned stronger, sharper, and more advanced, until one day it became the mighty Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, a masterpiece of focus, strength, and evolution. But even then, the story didn't end, because greatness doesn't stop at success, it continues to upgrade. And that's where Valazon enters the story. One day, Valazon held his S23 Ultra tightly in his hands. The screen was cracked, the back glass shattered, a painful sight. But instead of throwing it away, he took it to be repaired. The repairer looked at him and smiled. "My son, why fix this broken thing? Why not just buy another?" Valazon replied, "This phone has captured my memories. It has helped me work, dream, and create. I can't throw away something that still has purpose. It just needs to be restored." The repairer nodded and said, "Then learn from your own words, Valazon. You too are like this Ultra. When life cracks you, don't throw yourself away. Repair yourself, and shine again." Valazon stood still for a moment. Those words echoed in his heart. As his Ultra was repaired, he began to notice something deeper. He saw how the camera could zoom beyond what the eyes could see. And he said to himself, "In life, I must also zoom out and see the bigger picture. When things get blurry, I must tap to focus." He saw how nightography mode captured beauty even in the dark, and he realized, even when my path feels dark, I still carry my own light. I must learn to glow in darkness. He looked at the S Pen, that small, often ignored tool, and discovered its power. It could write, draw, capture photos, and control the phone from afar. Then Valazon said, "Great power often hides in small things, and sometimes the smallest gifts bring the biggest results." He explored the multitasking features, split screen, floating windows, switching between apps with ease, and he thought, life is the same. You must learn balance, handle many things without losing focus. And when the battery began to drain, he smiled and whispered, "Even the strongest need to rest and recharge. Energy is not endless, it's something you protect and renew." From that day on, Valazon changed. He moved with purpose, spoke with calm, and worked with vision. He didn't try to impress others, he focused on upgrading himself. One day, someone asked him, "Valazon, how did you become so focused, so confident, so calm?" He smiled and said, "I learned from my phone." They laughed, thinking he was joking, but he continued, "I learned that cracks don't mean the end. They mean it's time to rebuild. I learned that darkness isn't defeat. It's a test of how brightly you can shine. I learned that power means nothing without control, and that balance is strength. And I learned that being ultra isn't about being better than others. It's about being better than the person I was yesterday." So my friend, remember this tale of Valazon and his S23 Ultra. When you fail, upgrade. When you fall, repair. When you tire, recharge. And when life goes dark, turn on your night mode and keep shining. Because the world doesn't need another average version of someone else. It needs the ultra version of you. Remember, every scratch, every crack, every challenge in your life is just like that broken screen. It can be replaced, repaired, and renewed. The beauty is not in staying perfect, but in knowing how to rebuild stronger than before. Thanks for watching. I hope you've learned a lot.